Board of Directors for the Pine Ridge at Fort Myers Village 1 Condominium Association at the clubhouse in 6/30/19/2018. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Eric, would you call the roll, please?
Yes. Jim Tucker.
Here.
Janet Miranda.
Here.
Tommy McIntyre.
Here.
Scott Harris.
Here.
John Cricker.
Here.
Ken Jerome and Mike Allen are absent.
Thank you. Was this meeting properly noticed?
Yes.
Okay, next one is open forum, and Marcia, you're the first one on the list.
I know the board has maybe heard some of this, because my husband is chair, would do a couple of emails.
I'm not sure you're gonna have to be.
Is it on?
Yeah.
You probably have heard this, because I know my husband emailed you, or maybe the audience at whole doesn't. And he has voiced his great concern for many different reasons, and probably also because he's not been a property manager. Well, the problem regarding dish network, and he shared some stuff that might be interesting. We went through all the bylaws, of which the bylaws are still not updated on the website. They're still old ones that we had caught on stand-up. And it says clearly in there under subsection 7.4 that the association make no material alterations or substantial additions to the common elements and or real property owned by the association, which costs more than $2,500. It seems to us that this could fall under this category. So we're strongly opposed to moving to DISH. But more importantly, we're really concerned about the communications or lack thereof from the board and to members. There are a whole lot of us that are seasonal. We pay our HOA dues every month or every quarter like everybody else. And yet, had it not been for me on the phone talking to a friend, I wouldn't have known any of this was going on. And I don't think that's right. Our website is so obsolete, it's scary, and we should be embarrassed about it. There's no events, bylaws are old. Posting things on the bulletin board, posting meetings or notification of meetings does not help any of us that are here in the summer. And I think you need to take a look, and I'd be happy to work with somebody on that. The latest issue of this case is a good example. If I hadn't talked to
Get closer to the microphone, please.
If I hadn't talked to some of my friends here, I wouldn't have known what was going on. Since I've been down here since Thursday, I've heard so many stories that probably aren't even true, that I think it's getting everybody riled up. And I really encourage us to have some more communication. One that really got me concerned was that My husband started 2 years ago on the talking about Comcast and was on that committee. He's never been notified of anything else. And I was told, oh, they don't like the controversy, so they're not concluding the minutes. Now, that's either true or false. But the problem is that's stuff that's going around the neighborhood. So we would just like you to really consider how you are communicating and treating your non-seasonal residents and making this decision at this point in time with a very limited amount of people at meetings is not right. It does not fit in what we believe the bylaws say. So I thank you for listening. I hope we can work to improve these things. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcia. We'll definitely look into better communication. Janet Berber. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes, close enough. I recently was looking for new insurance for my house, and I've been turned down because our mitigation, however you say that word, report is outdated since 2008. So what?
The wind mitigations that we
Yes.
have on file for the buildings that have not been re-roofed in this cycle are from 2008. And for personal insurance policies, we won't accept them once they're past 5 years.
Because they're expired after 5 years.
Correct, and they've changed the form, and it's a lot different now what they ask for. However, for the big commercial insurance policy that we have that costs over $100,000 a year, they will still accept those old ones, and we have the maximum allowable discount with
So
those.
in order to be covered, I have to have your insurance and not mine.
No, incorrect. We are performing new wind mitigations on the roofs when the buildings are re-roofed. You can get insurance without the wind mitigation form. However, you usually get a discount by having the mitigation done.
And if I don't have an up-to-date report, most likely they say I will not be covered for any wind damage.
A report, to have someone come in and do a report for you, and I
Well, to have, for the communities, to have an updated report.
The community has updated reports on the roofs that have been updated. Individuals that want to get a discount on their insurance or need it to get coverage, who our mitigation is expired and their insurance won't accept it, they can get their own inspection done. The cost is $65 or $75.
So when I have my roof done, I can submit that and reimburse me?
When you have your roof done, we will have a new wind mitigation done, and we will provide you with that. I don't know what year your roof is, it might be 5 years from now before your roof is done. This one might be expired. What I tell people is, this is good for 5 years. If it's $75 and you're gonna save $100 a year for 5 years, it's probably a wise investment to go ahead and do it. If you're not gonna save very much money, and usually the agent can tell you the ballpark of where you're gonna be, then you may not want to do it. But that's the way that we've done it here the entire time I've lived.
Doesn't mean it's the right thing.
Shannon?
I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna pass.
Ron Business?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I want to speak to this area of communication. And I think I had 2 points I'd like to leave with the board. The first point is to urge you not to rush into anything. I have heard so much misinformation about what's going on over the last several weeks that I don't think the community has any real firm understanding of exactly what the alternatives are, what their costs are, and what we get for what we would buy. In fact, the matter is, I was in the pool the other day, and there were two people talking, and they were talking kind of loud, so I heard them. And the one said to the other one, "Well, I'm opposed to Dish Network because the internet's slow." I didn't interject in that, but I thought to myself, how could they believe that? You know? And so I urge the board not to move quickly. The contract with Comcast just continues on and on and on, and the prices continue on and on and on, and I think until the community gets behind one or the other options, there's no point in doing anything really wild. So I guess that's really all I have to say, is that don't jump the gun on this, and don't get in front of the community, please. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Ron. I know we as board members have received a lot of information on this, and I'll discuss it more with the president's report. Do I have a motion to read last month's minutes or to waive them?
I move that we waive the reading of the minutes from last month because they were posted.
Okay, motion been made and seconded that we're going to waive the reading of the minutes of last month. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Manager's report.
Good evening, everybody. Nice to see you. Nice to turn out. It's summertime. I want to start out talking, this one is pretty important. Safety and security is always the #1 priority. And there is an alligator in our lake, decent sized alligator. We reported it several weeks ago to Florida Fish and Wildlife. They have a nuisance alligator department that issues permits to have the alligators removed, and then they assign it to a licensed alligator trapper that's in this area, and they can usually they're able to successfully corral the alligator. We've never had the problem where we just can't get it for this long and they hang around. Sometimes they move on to greener pastures before we catch them. We usually we're able to catch them and pull them out of the lake. So this one is a bit concerning. I've heard some people, some different stories of seeing it out and about, and I don't know if some of them are exaggerated or not, but what I would say is be very, very careful when you're in the area of the lake. We believe it to be living near the pump house area, if you know where that is. Be careful with your dogs is the main thing that I would keep them on their leash close to you. And just be aware. We are going to do everything we can. We're calling every single day to get the alligator removed. We're calling the trapper. We're calling the Fish and Wildlife. We're asking for new trappers. Let me call news. The whole thing. Sorry.
It's true. I have to go do not disturb.
But anyway, safety and security, that's the #1 thing. Over in that corner by the pump house, the brush has gotten a little bit out of control. I think that's providing it some cover. So we're definitely going to trim that brush back when the alligator is removed. We feel that we can safely put some of that out of there while he's still there. We're going to look into that, but of course, safety is the most important thing. Keeping on that, our lighting project, we've got a project where we're going around and replacing all the old lights with LED street lights. as well as turning a lot of the single light poles into double lights, which provides a lot more light. We haven't been able to proceed with this project because some of our equipment has been down and out and in the shop, so we've been unable to get there. But by next week, we should have everything back in order and be able to continue upgrading the lighting around the community. I think when it's done, it's going to be much better than it was. A year or two ago, it was really dark when I would drive out of here, especially at night after board meeting nights, and it's gotten a lot better, and we can't wait to see it get even better, no better than that, more better, even better. The next few items I'm going to go into are just kind of scheduling and planning ahead, so you guys know where we're at as far as major projects on the horizon. The tennis court and pickleball resurfacing is also going to be coupled with shuffleboard court repairs, and that it's scheduled to begin October 8th. We're going to try to get in here a few days before then to start to do some prep work. It'll take probably a week to 10 days before the tennis court and shuffleboard courts are complete. And this is all weather permitting. Seal coating the streets and parking lots. We're finalizing an agreement to have the streets and parking lots seal coated and striped. We're working with the same vendor who did the job for us, I think it was 5 years ago. Tentative start date is the first week in November. Possibly if weather allows and they're able to get ahead on some of their other jobs, they begin in October. When we have exact dates, posting schedules, we will post them both on the bulletin board and on the website and the calendar and all that stuff. So that's going to be October, November, and hopefully it will be done out here by Thanksgiving, seal coating the streets. Roof bidding. We have intention to invite 6 different roofing companies to come in and bid on our 2019 and 2020 roofing projects. Each one of those contains about 20 buildings. What we would like to do is come up with some sort of an agreement with a contractor where they get round 1 and if it's completed to our satisfaction, then we'll continue with them for 2020, the following year. And we're going to see about negotiating and be locking in the price for both years now because things are definitely going up. Off the topic, looking at the cable contracts that we're talking about. One of the things we worked hard on last time was negotiating the shortest term that we could because we wanted to have flexibility. In reality, now looking back, the longer term was because you're locking in the pricing from 5 years ago, and it only goes up incrementally. When you're starting fresh, and it's not that they change their base rate, it's they mess with their other fees, their broadcast fees and other things, where it looks like you're paying a little slightly less, but you're actually paying more. And it's just kind of a lesson learned. When you have a good deal, maybe grab it and grab it for as long as you can. Because I think the previous contract worked out pretty well once it got established. But the board will talk more about the cable, but that was just one observation I made earlier. So roof bidding, we're going to bid 2019 and 2020. Hopefully, we're going to get a company that's coming here and do a high quality job for both. At the conclusion of 2020, 60 out of the 94 buildings will have been re-roofed, so the better part of 2/3. The roofing will then stop for 3 or 4 years and is scheduled to pick up, I believe, in 2023. Roofing inspections, I know we've had questions in the last few open forums. Crown Roofing is going to have representatives on site to do some exterior inspections of the complaints that we have against their roofing system. We expect them here next Thursday. If you do see them out and about in the inspections and you see me with them, bear in mind that it is a legal matter and we need to be very, very careful and use a lot of discretion about what we say. It's not our job to account for their mistakes. It's their job to come in and account for them and make it right. So we don't want to have necessarily complaining or giving up information that maybe our legal team wouldn't want given up so freely. So they will be here next week. Painting, we began to cost out painting earlier in the year for budgeting reasons. Our reserve analysis had us budgeting a huge amount of money for painting, double I think what we paid last time when we painted. Now last time the economy was down, so things cost a little less. Now the economy's up, things cost a little more. But we couldn't imagine it being that much more. So it actually helped us a lot in our reserve budget planning was to get some preliminary numbers and budget to what it's actually going to cost. And I think there's some spots where it's starting to need it, especially around the villas I'm noticing. But right now, if we can finalize the contract with a painter and it all looks good, we'll be looking at painting the buildings in the fourth quarter of 2019. October, November of 2019.
Question.
With questions we can take at the end. As far as the details of the painting, and I know colors are going to be things that are brought up, that is a little bit further down the line, but I just want to let you know that's kind of where we are with the schedule. The pool lounge chairs, you know the base of the lounge chairs have started to wear through, and we knew that would happen, that's when we bought them, but we had them reslung, we bought the fabric ourselves actually, we had a upholstery shop do it, and we were able to do about half of what the chair company was doing, which is nice, and we have extra fabric for future jobs. The electric meter housings are sheds inside the buildings. Many of them, most of them are really in disrepair, they're in bad shape from being neglected for years, even before the hurricane. The hurricane didn't help, and we've had other ones since then. We really need to get those rebuilt properly so they have proper housing. We're going to be meeting with some carpenters about doing that, and getting some prices, and hopefully getting that done, as soon as possible. Because I think that's a critical thing that's been neglected for too long. Another issue that we've had a few people bring up as a cosmetic concern that kind of doesn't look the best is the wood fencing. After you come in the gate along Lakeside Club Boulevard, we've got several hundred feet on the exit side. We've got about 100 feet on the entrance side. And it does kind of look bad. You remember after the hurricane, that was all knocked down. Insurance wouldn't cover anything regarding that fencing at that time. So we kind of had to rig it up as best we could to make it look as well as it could. It didn't look that great before the hurricane. It definitely didn't look good after. There's a lot of other big projects on the table, but I wanted to get some options and some preliminary stuff. About 600 feet of fencing. If we went with a wood fence, we'd be looking at somewhere between $8,000 and $12,000, depending on the quality of the wood and what we decide to use. Then if we wanted that painted, there'd be some cost in painting that. We go with a vinyl fence. It wouldn't be quite double, but it would be more. I don't know how crazy we all are about vinyl fences after seeing how our other vinyl fences held up after a storm. An idea that we had that we thought would be really neat would be to make like a false wall and wire lath and stucco it. I don't know if you remember out here where we have the two columns now, as you mentioned, the clubhouse. Those used to be just 4x4 posts with lattice on them. And what we did, we framed them out and we made them into columns, and they look like they've been there the whole time and they're part of the building. We thought a similar concept of that would be ideal, because you can tie in with the concrete wall that's there and really make it look good. The problem is I don't know if the engineering behind that would be flawed, and the wall wouldn't, the wind would kind of take the wall right down. But we're going to research that a little more. The last option, I'm talking to the landscapers, would be, I thought of maybe like a vine that would grow up, attach itself to the fence, and eventually we'd have like Wrigley Field, you know, like the ivy. I think that's, we like green better than any other color, I think, out there. The issue with that is it'd be by far the least expensive thing to do. The plants run between $6 and $8 a piece installed, and we plant every 2 feet, so you need about 300 of them. However, they're kind of slow growers, the way it's explained to me. It would be several years before we got the desired effect. So that kind of leaves that one where I don't know how much time, we want to wait to get this thing looking right. And the other thing is you're basing it on an old faulty fence. So those are kind of the options that we've looked at so far. It'll be a combination of two things. We might want to do wood fence and do a vine. But that'll be something for the board to look at as we conclude some of this other stuff. So just want to list out, these are some of the projects we have in the near future. We've been spending a lot of time on the phones negotiating and researching these cable contracts. We're going to be working on the operating budget starting next week. You can look for your budget package to come in the mail prior to the October board meeting or shortly thereafter. This will include the meeting notices for the budget meeting. It'll include a copy of the proposed budget. It will also include an intent to run for the board of directors form. And I think that we will need a couple new directors based on what I'm hearing from some of these guys, if they're going to retire or continue on. So if you're interested in running that form, it's important to fill that out, turn that in right away, and then you have a little bit of time to put together a one-page resume after that if you decide to run. And it will likely include the revised rules and regulations for the community. We worked on them at the first part of the year, and then we get together one more time and try to finalize those terms, and that'll be mailed out, and you'll have an opportunity at the following meeting once you receive them to make any comments that you want to make before the board chooses to adopt them or not. Then in November, we'll mail out the annual meeting notice, the proxy and proxy questions, and the ballots for the board election. The votes for the board election will be counted, and the winners will be announced at the December meeting, along with the result of the proxy vote. And we're almost there, guys. It's already almost the end of the year already, so I can't believe I'm saying that. Thank you. And that's all I have to report.
Thanks, Eric. I'm going to take this out of order and take up the president's report first, because it really only involves the old business on your agenda. That is the problem with making a decision on Dish or Comcast. And in between, we got another proposal from a fiber optic company that wants to come in and put in all new fiber optics. And all these things take considerable amount of structure to be accomplished. So I don't know where we're going to go. As was discussed in the town hall meeting a few weeks ago, the board is currently considering proposals from both Dish and Comcast. The Comcast proposal keeps things general as they are. The Dish proposal would include a wireless internet in every condo. And that was my goal in the very beginning, was try to get internet as an amenity, if we could get it close enough to what we're currently paying and not have to pay an exorbitant amount. Comcast wouldn't even listen to us on that. They're charged for is what we're paying, what you're paying right now. So it doesn't look like we can go that way. And the other problems are with Dish. It seems like there's a lot of discussion about the quality that you get from Dish. Not only the rain fade, but other problems too. So we have to take these things into consideration. And so we're still looking at all three options, but as you know, we just can't make a decision at this time. There's too much conflict going on without any clear alternative. In my direction, Eric sent in a counter proposal to Comcast today to the area manager and vice president at Comcast. The community spends over $500,000 a year on products and services from Comcast. If you add together what the association pays and what all the residents pay in extra services out of their own pockets. We received a response this afternoon from the area manager of Xfinity Communities, who said she would review with her VP and get back to us as soon as possible. So maybe they will bend a little bit, especially since we've threatened others. Considering that the terms of both proposals remain fluid, this subject doesn't appear to be ready to be voted on. Although I said we would be ready this month, we're not. I'm sorry. Any of the board members want to discuss the proposals while we're here?
Well, we can discuss. It's kind of impossible, apparently. There's so much misinformation in the community. I thought things were being communicated. I just got back in town. I leave town as soon as possible. No, that's not true. Things like the internet being slow with Dish. Now they're putting in fiber optics, as we know, which is very fast, and it has nothing to do with the Dish. As far as rain fade, it's probably got no more than maybe Comcast if it does. I've had Dish for 20 years. I've got the whole super Dish. The worst I had this summer, it was out 45 minutes in one instance. And that wasn't my concern because there were no roads off the mountain, because we had rain fade on the roads, because they were full of trees and landslides. Generally, it's about 30 seconds if it happens. We need to look at that. In the meantime, there'll be over-the-air antennas with the 22 channels, like the FET. So, but we're not ready. So, and I don't think the community's ready. So we need to print something up, maybe have another town hall. I don't know. We'll have to do something ongoing. The end of January is when Comcast is up, because the Comcast doesn't like in the contract is the contract goes over month by month. The only way to stop it is a formal declaration on our part, on the part of Comcast, and that's a 30-day notice. So if Comcast would say, well, we're not going to deal with you people at all, we're canceling the contract, we'd still have 30 days notice. We'd have to be in February. If it got to the end of February, we still have, I mean, it could go on forever. So if we continue to hammer at this thing, we do have time to make a decision. And that's obviously what we need to do.
One thing I would say to just expand on what Scott was saying, in the previous contract that we had with Comcast before we negotiated this one, there was an auto renewal clause that if you didn't send a certified letter 60 days ahead of the cancellation of the termination of the contract, it would automatically renew for another 2 years at this increase. It was a very cumbersome I don't know if you remember, we talked about it, it was very cumbersome, and that was one of the points that we just would not accept on this new contract that we were signing at that time. So the term that we settled on was it'll continue to roll over on a month-to-month basis until either side decides to cancel by providing 30 days written notice. I notice on the proposals that they submit now, it says that it'll auto-renew on a monthly basis, but only for a maximum of 3 months. That leads me to believe that maybe they caught that little clause in their contract that they signed, because in reality, sure, they could cancel us with 30 days notice after January 31st. But if you had a customer paying you $17,000 a month, would you ever cancel them even if you could? So I think from that respect, we're in a strong position, but we can't take undue risk, because obviously everybody here counts on having reliable television services. That's why we're having the conversation. But we do have some leverage in the current contract terms that we have, and it's one of the things they're trying to correct by having us sign a new agreement.
Anybody else want to make a comment?
I don't have any, I've had a lot of them, but I don't have any now.
Okay, we'll go to committee reports. Anybody have a committee report
I
tonight?
do.
Treasure.
Treasurer's report.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I gotta write this thing.
I skipped right over you.
Of course you do. The association is on budget. There are 2 exceptional items which don't amount to anything, but if I don't mention them, I don't have a report. So, the telephone system is a little bit over budget. That's because we decided to put an extra incoming line into the office, which increases our response exponentially. If you're on one line and Eric could be on the phone for quite a while, it would throw us off. So anyway, if somebody's on the phone, we've still got another line rolling over for the quick fixes and things that we have done. So that's good, a little bit extra for. The other one is pool maintenance. That's our #1 amenity. It has to be first class all the time. What else? There's a couple pumps, I think, and then there was some incidental replacements. And there were some gaskets and things that we needed to do. And we're not gonna pull whatever the pool needs, whatever it needs, it's gonna get. So that's a little bit of it too, but other than that. Eric mentioned the budget committee will reconvene next week. Just got an email from Maria a little bit ago, so we'll probably be starting Monday or Tuesday, depending on what's convenient to look from that. We've got no significant issues in the accounts receivable. We have a couple, there's payment plan, people are catching up, and so fortunately, no bad news there. What's not on my handout is a couple of things I've just added. The insurance thing, I'm now confused about. It's a fiduciary issue, I guess. So I'll mention it is, I'm not crazy about the answer because it confused me, because I just got homeowners insurance and nobody said anything to me about wind mitigation. So what we need to do, maybe the answer won't be any better answer, but we'll get a clearer answer on how the insurance works between the association and the personal property owner, real estate owner. So we will work on that, we will have an answer for that. And the other thing, the minutes, one business, a lot of times is said to me, we've got to do something about the website. And I say, Ron, you're right. And something always gets in the way. So if anybody wants to meet me after the meeting, we'll try to get a committee together and get it rolling. I thought at least the minutes were going up and the video from the meeting was going up on YouTube or somewhere.
The minutes are going up. The video on YouTube, the YouTube video goes up. There was a YouTube video of the town hall that we did with Comcast and Dish that went up, as well as the notice. I'm not sure offhand if Pamela put the package of information Because we had everything clearly written out, the people that were here summarizing, and we can get that up there. We basically printed the exact proposals. We have, complete transparency as far as the different offers. And the calendar of events is up to date. You click on calendar. But could the website be improved? Yes.
Okay.
I've said this for a long time, that the cheapest thing is the website, and there's usually the first thing people see before they even come here. So why not have it be first class?
Okay, yeah. So we need to do that, and even if the information is up, if it's not easy to navigate to or to find, then it might as well not be there at all. So let's fix it. With Ron's blessing, we'll move forward with that.
Do you mind if I address that insurance question one?
That's something in mind.
Well, that's, with the board's policy with prior boards, was when we had the maximum allowable discount by performing new wind mitigations. Depending on what the results of those are, there's only one direction we can go as far as the big insurance premium that affects every single person in the room. On the smaller HO6 condo policies that are anywhere from $300 to $800 is usually what I hear people paying. The wind mitigation can help you get a discount. However, once the association does it and has it on file, we're obligated to turn it in, and that could affect our premiums, and it can only affect it negatively because we have the maximum allowable discount. So that's why we've taken the position that we'll do them when the new roofs are on, because that's when it will be an update. The individual owners, it's so inexpensive. It's $65 or $75.
$95.
I think it's the name of someone who does it for a little bit less too. And you'll make that money back over the 5 years because you'll get a discount. But that's the reason that we've done it that way. We can get wind mitigations every year on every unit, but it doesn't necessarily behoove the community as a whole when we look at purchasing insurance. That is one of the biggest items in the budget. And that's the reason why that's the approach. If there was the opportunity for improvement, or even just knowing that we could stay the same, sure, we can go ahead and get those reports there. They're very inexpensive, like I said. But the individuals have been doing it on their own because we want to stick with the ones that we have on file to keep our premiums low.
Okay. The end of the report is, balance sheet and income statement, and statement of back report, and financial documents are always available for review in the office. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Sorry I went out of turn as much as I did. Okay, we'll go back to the committee reports. I guess there were none. Okay. And the old business that we discussed during the president's report. We don't have any new business, or nothing came up unless you have something to present to the board as new business. Okay, we'll have no new business. Okay, now we have time for question and answers. Let's just start right here. Marcia, you want to come up and start?
I will do that, Terry. Is this better? Thank you. Marcia. I can yell. I was a hockey mom. I don't know who's doing it, but I thank you very much for the YouTube. We may be the only ones, but Tom and I sat and watched both of them and thought that was a great improvement. So thank you for doing that. I have a question for the board regarding the dishes. If we move to Dish Network, I've heard anywhere from 1 dish to 8 dishes. And so that's the rumor stuff. And so maybe you can give some clarification for that. I've also understood that we would be responsible for building a building to house equipment. And I think that would go over the $2,500 that is listed in section 7.4. That would be full membership by approval on that. So, if you could answer something like that, we'd really appreciate it.
Okay, to go back to the building, they don't specify, they only specify a 5x5 building, and you can get a 6x6 shed for $600 or $700, and then we'd have to air condition it. So that isn't the problem. As far as the dish, they didn't tell us how many dishes they would get, but they said that the minimum, two, I'm sorry. But the minimum size was 1.8 meters, which is about 6 feet.
And my question is, who wants that in their backyard?
Well, we're not gonna put it in the yard.
Well, that would be good information to get out, because then that makes some of us feel a little bit better about dish. And I know we don't have to shovel snow off of it, but Scott, sounds like you've got a really good thing going with yours, that every other person I talked to has said they would never, ever do it again. That's the worst thing that happened.
I thought that we had made that clear, that the dishes would be in an out-of-the-way location, landscaped around where you wouldn't even know they were
Where
there.
is that?
That's an area that is to be determined, I think, but it wouldn't be in anybody's backyard, it would be an out-of-the-way location.
It's probably over by the maintenance building. Yes, you come up here.
I used to be a Dish Network installer and troubleshooter in New Hampshire. And where Dish is very difficult to get, the line of sight to the satellite is very low in the horizon. And they used to send me out on the weekends and I'd go re-aim dishes and trench wires and things like that. The dishes they're going to use here are quite large, and the satellites are new. And the transponders on the satellite, you're shaking your head, but the transponders are much more powerful. In other words, the signal coming off the satellite over the equator. And the satellite we're looking at is up very high in the sky, so they're very easy to look at. Now, there's a problem with Dish Bay, and that's where it's raining and skews the signal. But with those powerful transponders, you can do that. Now, they sent me out to aim these dishes in New Hampshire. The problem we had was ice and snow on those dishes where you really ran into trouble. But down here, we don't have that problem, and what we do have is rain gauge, heavy rain fade, and that can happen, but it usually is a short duration. But also has sun fade, where the sun is directly behind the satellite certain times of the year and knocks out the signal. That's a problem also, and that can last a half an hour. So there's that kind of problem with the Dish Network, with any satellite network. But the installation they're going to do is much larger equipment, and I would say we'll probably have less trouble, but there's always dish fade and sun fade, and that will happen, and there's no getting away from it. Is there anything anybody got to ask me a question?
I got a friend that's got it here.
Sir?
Andy, we can't have that. I'm sorry.
Just about the equipment.
I've lived here for almost 30 years. When we moved in, we had Jones Intercable. And the dish was over there at the end of Blackberry where the work shed is at. It didn't bother anybody, and we got good service. My brother is retired Comcast. He said with the big dishes you will have less problems because he ran the big dishes in Lehigh for Comcast, and they had a lot less problems. He's got Dish right now. I've talked to somebody that lives in Heron's Glen. They just got Dish, and he said the internet is fine, and so is the TV. And so that's all I wanted to tell you. Heron's Glen. And they've got, I don't know how, they've got homes up there. Yes, they got the whole community dying. So you can call Heron's Glen and find out.
Thank you, Emma. Someone else? Okay.
There's a lot of confusion in the community about these town halls. When you do a town hall,
can the entire board be up there? I know there's a sunshine law, a lot of people don't understand what the sunshine law is. Is there a time when we can have the entire board present and we can ask the questions of the board and have an interactive time? Or is that not something that we can do? And it's very confusing when we can only hear from certain board members and we can't hear from other board members. And it might be a good time to explain how the town hall actually works and how you can do it so that we don't have a town hall now. But there's a lot of confusion about the town hall.
That's easily remedied. We can just have a special
Special
board meeting. And you call it town hall, call it anything.
The difference between a town hall and a special board meeting is, in a board meeting, we have to follow Robert's Rules of Order. And so like midway through, when somebody raises their hand, we can't take their question. We have to have questions at the beginning or the end. Whereas a town hall, you can run it a little more informally and a little more interactivity. But really, the way we do it gives
And that sounds fun.
Okay, Kelly?
You're not moving there to stay here now?
Yeah, I'm gonna sit right by you.
All right. First of all, I'm going to answer this lady's question about the insurance. Because I got insurance 3 years ago, and my wind mitigation report was no good either, because it has expired, as we all knew. And when I went, they said, you can get insurance, but you're going to pay more now, and then eventually you'll get the lower price. So I waited. I paid the higher price for 2 years, got my wind mitigation report. My insurance went down, which they told me it was. My question is, I've sat here tonight and I'm not for Dish, but I'm not going to say why. I don't have to because there's enough people that don't like it. My question is, you did part of the complex, you did the carpets, and now this week, or last week I should say, he came through and he power washed it, so I guess that means that we're not going to get our carpet removed this year. Is that true or not true?
power wash your carpet and your...
Our carpet, yeah.
What was a safety hazard? So
I know it's a safety hazard because it smells. And my parents, it had mold on it, and my mother almost fell down.
Yeah.
So there's a problem here with these carpets.
That's the reason why we power wash.
I know, but there's a major problem. I think the carpets need to be removed.
I agree.
I think they just need to be, I'll live with the cement. I'd rather live with that than the smelly carpet. When we walked into our condo, we walked through the wet carpet for months, and it's tracked everything into my condo. It's awful. It's really not good, and it really looks bad when you've got some people who have nice blue, looks really nice, and then others of us that have that crap looking red. Sorry, it doesn't look good.
I think one of the problems in just removing it and leaving the slick concrete is a safety reason. Slipping.
Well,
So,
not that you wouldn't be on concrete, you'd be on yellow glue.
Well,
That's the-
then
that's the-
we need to have a company come in and take care of our issue. You can't do half a job. I mean, my complex, my building, there's 8 condos, and 6 of them are full-time residents. So you did all the ones where there was like nobody there, so you did all the 2 stories, and you didn't do anything to the 3 stories. You left us.
We've got one,
You know, I mean, they did some of the 2 stories. I'm not saying they did them all, but either you gotta do it all or you gotta do nothing.
we're trying. It's taking much longer than we
Yeah,
anticipated.
but you don't have a company doing it. You have 2 guys doing it.
well, the,
I mean, if you're gonna have 2 guys doing it,
We're trying
you
to
can do
save
other
money
jobs.
for the community, and
and
I'm
there's no,
sorry.
and there's no company that will get that glue off to our satisfaction for the money that there's no, the companies come in and they don't want the job.
So we'll just keep
We'll start
power
calling,
washing
I'll start
and
calling more companies, but, in fact, the one that we did as the original sample has some chipping that I'm noticing, and underneath the chipping is yellow, and that's because why is it chipping? They didn't get the glue off to the way that the others have been gotten the glue off. So I mean, there's quick jobs and there's doing the job right. You know, we can call companies and bring one in and give them a shot. I know it's gonna be tough to find one, but that's the challenge. I mean, there's just glue upon glue upon glue upon glue, and we've tried just about everything, and it's a slow process to get it off. We can bring in more people, we could have 100 people instead of 4, but it doesn't always get you faster because it's so hard to keep track of, and, you know, these are workers outside of the facility.
I have 2 things that I want to say something about. First off, the insurance thing. Our friends bought Steve Lundgren's house a couple doors down from us. And they went to Eric, and Eric recommended a fellow that did the wind mitigation, and they paid, I think, $100 for it, maybe a $5 tip. And we found out about it, Shannon and I, and we then, on that same day, paid him to do our wind mitigation. That was in November. And in February, we received a $300 check from our insurance company. So,
You can even turn it in after the fact.
yeah, we didn't lose any money. We gained $200. And this year, we're paying less insurance.
And then it continued for 5 years.
The other issue that I want to talk about is, I brought to someone on the board's attention that there was a fellow doing political campaigning in here, and I just wondered what's the position of the community as far as somebody going door to door and campaigning for political parties?
We met with that individual, Larry, and he's not going to do that anymore. And but our position is, if you want to work to get early voting or mail voting, that's fine. I think Eric put some material back in the back to do that, but not. We think it's, our lawyer still hasn't gotten back to us, but we think that if you're going for a candidate, that is solicitation. If you have a particular candidate.
And I don't particularly want to be solicited.
Personally, I don't like door-to-door type solicitations, because you don't know who's going to be at the door. But when we talked it over, Tommy and I mean, our position is we support voting, we support everyone registering to vote, going out and voting, but we're not going to campaign for either party or any candidate. However, you know, the paperwork to vote by mail, I put it out there on the table because I encourage everyone to vote. I'm a big believer in that. But we're not going to support one party or the other, and that's the way the association should be.
Yes.
I'm new here, but I work for FPL, and just to the meter cabinets, they're fine the way they are if you leave them open, but when you put 16, I counted. One day I replaced third shields, I put them in, that's what I do for them, I've been with them 23 years. When you put 16 drywall screws in there, God forbid if there's a fire, the first thing the fire department wants is that the to come pull that meter, get the power off. Well, when there's 16 screws in the door, and you got a fire raging, what are they going to do? Convert the wall. So my suggestion is just put a slide bolt on them, just keep them closed. But tell the guys not to screw them shut. It's just not a good thing.
Yeah. I have a feeling that's called over screw shut or hurricane stuff that we never got around to
Okay.
screwing, but that's no excuse.
All right.
Yeah, but we've been working on getting those sheds done for over a year, and they keep getting pushed back to the back burner for some reason, so. But we're aware of the problem. Not only your problem, but it looks too. Anybody else? Yeah, come on up.
In my daily paper, I get a notice.
We can't hear you.
Tina,
In her
pull the
daily
microphone
paper,
down.
she gets a notice.
Turn that
Get
down
a
towards your
notice
mouth.
from DirecTV. Have we considered them?
Yeah, we reached out to DirecTV. The issue was they farm their work out to independent dealers, and you can't, they don't have a bulk MDU department through the corporate. So they sent out the independent dealer in Fort Myers, and we looked over the property and they surveyed it, and that dealer, I don't believe, was equipped to handle something like this. When you're dealing with Comcast, you're dealing with Comcast. When you're dealing with Dish, in this case, because we're dealing with the corporate, we're dealing with Dish Network. We're not dealing with ABC Satellite that happens to be the approved dealer in Fort Myers for DirecTV. And last 3 years ago when we did this, we had meetings, we had a committee of about a dozen people, and every single company came in and presented to us. When we went ahead and did it this time, being that we knew the presentations and we knew the products, we wanted to focus on the big boys because, we talk about the risk of switching to Dish. Well, they're one of the top 3 or 4 providers in the whole country. If we talked about switching to like this other company that we met with, was very, very impressive, but nobody in this room has ever heard of them before. So
We can be around tomorrow.
Or Comcast can make a phone call and buy them, and now it's Comcast again. So we tried to focus on the big national providers who have the resources to back up what we have here. And it's a limited number of people that we can look at, or companies we can look at then, and this is what it came down to. These are the top 2 proposals.
Yeah, Blue Stream,
Yeah, Mark. I have one question regarding with Comcast, and I'm sure a lot of people will agree with me on this. With the Xfinity system that they have, with the voice-operated remote and everything else, nobody compares to them, price-wise or quality-wise. And I've been dealing with Comcast for over 30 years. I've seen the improvements, I've seen the changes. I was just on the phone last week. In fact, I got a call from corporate because of some problems with the system going down. Within the last month, they've been working in the area. I actually had an executive from corporate call me and discuss the situation with me, which is a first, okay? But I was able to get, and I got the man's name and number. Anyway, the problems have been solved. Right? And again, I don't think Dish or any other company can compare to Comcast with what they offer in package deals. I have the bundle where I've got internet, home phone, and all of the extras, including sports packages and anything. Who else has that? Nobody. And if we lost Comcast, can we get it individually? That's one question. Is that your contract? Can we get our own and keep it here?
well, you could, but Dish does provide these things.
Like you wouldn't need any recommendation.
No, but I'm saying if you changed, I wouldn't want the Dish and I wouldn't go with Dish. I would stay with Comcast regardless, even if it cost me a little bit more. And I pay a fair amount, well over and above what I get for free from you guys.
Absolutely.
But it's worth it.
And I agree with you. The platform that Comcast has put out, the X1 platform, which
Mhm.
some in this room have it and some do not. Some are still on the legacy, I call them legacy HD boxes. And that's mainly what they were putting in here 4 years ago when it started. And that's actually one of the things when we made our counter proposal to Comcast that Tommy directed me to do is so that everybody in here should have the option of having that voice remote.
Exactly.
Especially as folks get older, you can't see as well. You can say the channel that you want into the thing, and it goes straight to the HD version of that channel.
As opposed to go to DVD and everything else.
That's a
it's
beautiful
so easy to
thing.
work with.
So that's one of the deal point. You know, when we look at something, we want to of course, control the cost because that directly affects the dues. We also like to provide something a little bit extra. Last time, we were able to negotiate a lower price with Comcast and add the HD service that we had never had before. That, we consider that a win.
Well, that's a plus, especially with the
This
larger
time, we
flat screen
just
TVs.
sign, and we pay a little bit more, and continue everything exactly the same. We like to show incremental improvements, and a lot of people already have that voice remote like you are.
Exactly.
But some of the people that don't, or have never even seen one, we'd like them to have the opportunity to
They
have
should know that
the
it's
same
available,
thing.
especially the snowbirds.
And I think that's one of the things that we have.
Because we have all these people that aren't down here yet, and yet you're checking votes and getting a consensus of opinion, and half the people aren't even here yet.
That's one
You know,
of
and
the
I think they should be involved in anything that we do, regardless of what the board says. It's the people, not the board.
well, the people, they like
All
that.
right, the people, okay? The board works for the people. We don't work for you.
Exactly.
Okay, it's like government.
Exactly.
I wish.
Well, no, that's a
But
very,
anyway, I'm not gonna get into the politics.
so that's a very good thing that you just said. And I say this all the time, is when the board election comes and you're voting, don't just check 3 or 4 names off without doing your diligence, looking at it, meeting people, because the people that you vote for, a lot of the decisions have to be made by at some point, the people you elect have to do the job that you elected them to do, just
I
like.
know that's
Just like
why
in the
it's over
government.
here, but anyway.
And sometimes you agree with them and sometimes you don't, but that's why it's so important. We do the election, look at who you're voting for, and vote for the people that you think identify with the values that you have.
Well, you know, when you get a piece of paper stating what their background is, we don't know the person unless we know them personally. So, you know, it's the same with politics. You read, I mean, at least there, you're getting on TV,
But we have
you're seeing what they're, you know,
Well, we'll have to meet the candidates.
well, that's the whole thing, we should have that as well.
We have any candidates, we do, we videotape it, we go online and watch last
And
night.
also, 2 other things while I'm up here. One, the road condition outside the gate. Is that our responsibility? The potholes and where it has to be paved? As you leave the gate, the whole right side of the road is potholes and indentations about 1 inch deep.
On our property?
It's on, just outside the gate, as soon as you go outside the gate.
Oh, yeah.
Well, right up to the end.
They fixed
The whole
that
right
today.
side has potholes.
They fixed that today.
Pavement repairs.
They were there doing that today.
Those are potholes, we cut those out too.
Well, whatever the cutout was, anyway, there was a few screws in there, and my wife picked one up in her tire because she went into one of those things. So we had a nice screw about 1 inch and a half on the tire. That's why I brought that up. And the last thing is the timing on the gate. When we come in, sometimes I notice it comes right down behind me. Other times I'm looking at my rearview mirror, and I can actually count up to 45 seconds before that gate closes, which means numerous people can come in behind me. Is there a timer on this thing or not?
No, you're talking about the swing gates.
No, I'm talking about the bar.
No, there's
That's
two things that, well, there's things that I've seen exactly what Art is talking about, and I think, one of the ways to limit that, it's a loop in the ground, so there's a wire embedded into the road
Mhm.
that senses your tires going over it, and once the tires go over it, it triggers the gate to close and come down. Now, every once in a while, a car may drive too fast and it doesn't pick it up. Every once in a while, it just may fail because it's a computer, and every once in a while, it does not work properly.
I'm just slow down the computer next time.
Or it could be, but that might be one thing, if you went fast through, that could be, but it is on a timer where after 30, 40 seconds, it will close no matter what.
Because that's a long time, 30, 40 seconds.
But really, it's that loop, hitting that loop that's in the ground, is a wire embedded, and making sure that it picks up off the weight of your tires. And if you go real fast, it's the same thing coming out. I've had people say, gate doesn't open going out. Well, it's because we were driving a little too fast over that loop, and it just didn't pick up their car, and then when they back up slowly, all of a sudden, it opens again. So, keep that in mind. It's not a perfect system, but that is one thing that
I'm just curious because I see it, you know, so sporadic.
Yeah.
So, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Art. Anyone else?
I know a lot of people here have dogs. I don't. We don't, I love dogs. I'm a runner and there's a lot of people with dogs that do not pick up the poo-poos.
Yep.
There's a lot of little things on the grass from those that have not been picked up.
Thank you.
A lot.
Don't make us have to do DNA tests.
They do
Those fines will be outrageous. Pick up after you go.
They do them, that's what they do at the apartment.
They do DNA testing.
DNA testing. But if it's becoming a significant problem and you know who the people are, you know, you can anonymously report it and like try to address it with them. But yeah, that's what a lot of the apartment complexes do. They take that, get a sample of every pet that comes in, and then when they find something, they send it off to the lab. The lab compares it against all the other dogs that are there. And
Try to enforce that.
when it comes back and it's my dog, then the bill from the lab, $150, that's my fine. And that's what a lot of these private apartment complexes do. I'm not saying that's what we should do, we should just do it right there.
We should just pick up the dog's food, people. The dog is your responsibility. It didn't just move in with you.
And everybody at once in their life has stepped in one and it's no fun, and don't do that to people. Right?
I can't throw a 90-mile-an-hour fastball anymore, but I volunteer to work with whoever the board selects, put together a white paper on this communication thing, and get the costs and the benefits out to the community, because I think, from what I've heard tonight here is, people really don't understand this whole thing very well.
One more question.
Ron, I had a house guest leaving this weekend, so beginning on Saturday, and we need time to do that. All we have to do is write down the comparison and just make a 1 or 2 page handout for people to look at. And these are the facts, and it doesn't have to be complicated, so. Just send me what we have, but we can do it so it's like real clear, not a lot of technical stuff.
We may have to keep it posted, but if it doesn't go in,
If we got a bit.
Marcia, would you be willing to work with it?
Yes, she would. Yes, because she's on my
Those
committee.
three? Okay, Ron? Okay, new committee. Anybody else want to be part of that committee?
come on. Thank you, Beth.
We'll have snacks.
I can do it.
Thank you, Shannon. Okay, I think that's pretty good there. That's 5 people. Should be able to come to blow by blow with 5 and somebody come out and win. Okay, Art, do you have one more question?
Yeah, have we replaced the maintenance man yet since George left?
No, not, we have a cleaning service that we have hired to do his janitorial work.
To do the buildings?
Yeah.
All right, because ours hasn't been touched since he left. He's starting that.
It's
My
done.
wife has been vacuuming it, and, you know, that's not her job.
Every Friday, the cleaning crew is here, and they do each building every other week. So you get it twice a month. Right.
Keep mine in mind.
Dan?
Thank you, Eric.
I checked 30 condos. Now, one place has been clean and I check them every week. I have to take
Right.
and clean around the doors, around the lights and so on. They have
she's in my
not
building, so.
been done since they've been coming. I've only seen them one time in the building. That's
So I
it.
appreciate that feedback, so we can get back on.
That's why I brought it up.
Yeah, we can address that. The bugs in here are like really exterminator.
One last chance. Anybody?
Hit the hammer and we can break up the.
Thank you all for coming. We are now